Zelete, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. For a very long time, Africans have been told that the continent is poor. We have nothing. We depend on the survival of other people. Without the aids, we can never move forward. But these are the same people that when we ask them to move out of the continent, they find it so difficult to live. Our all in all, the Savior, the Protector, the Unifier, the Messiah, the King of Kings, the most loved, General Abdurrahman Chiani has just exposed something to us. We heard about the two attacks that happened in Niamey Airport, where there was a coordinated attack. And these two attacks happened just this year. Within some few months after the first one, they decided to launch another one. According to General Abdurrahman Chiani, the person responsible for these attacks, the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, that he was the one who planned all these attacks. Because according to him, they must survive. Their survival depends on this. And he's not going to leave office without making sure that whatever that is an obstacle to the progress of France is taken out. And he's referring to the leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. According to our all in all, we have the puppet to make sure that they always succeed, that they brought people who came into the continent to train these people that did these coordinated attacks. That we will be naive to believe that it is some TT people who just decided that they want something and then they decided to launch the attack. That it was not the TT, it was a planned attack, and they were supposed to attack three major places: the airport, the palace, and the intelligence.
Continues. I would say that the attack on the international airport of Yoru Hamani was conducted, as I said, during the first attack by Emmanuel Macron, who is the defender of the interests of Europe, a Europe that has systematically aligned itself behind him and mobilizes billions to acquire equipment adapted to the Sahel and lead to the destruction of the Sahelian peoples, simply to behave like a dignified and honest man. Our inability to lead our states, our inability to secure our states. We know where the threat comes from. We know who are the sponsors of the threat. And we know that those we confront, that we kill, are African brother, because they are not all from the Sahel area. There are others who come from distant horizons. But one of the other is Africans that we kill. And it is between Africans, unfortunately, we kill each other, to the pleasure of the colonial and neo-powers. And so I regret it strangely even, if I haven't been tempted. Yeah, I would say that the attack on the international airport of Rohamani has been conducted, as I said, during the first attack by Emmanuel Macron, who is the defender of the interests of Europe, a Europe that has systematically aligned itself behind him and mobilizes billions to acquire equipment adapted to the Sahel and lead to the destruction of the Sahelian peoples, simply to preserve their interests. I'm not the one saying it, go ahead. Listen once again to the intervention. The past 12 of the Belgian senator, one of the last lucid at l'Europe, and who had said that he discovers after the intervention of Gomar that the billions they contribute to pay for an armament and military equipment adapted to the Sahel, when they are told that it is to conduct a war against Russia. It discovers through the intervention of Gomar the destination of the billions. They are forced to deduct from their hospital expenses. It's not me who says it. On their taxes and education fund. Go ahead and listen again. I'm not saying it. So understand what there is to understand the rest. These are comments, and we are not for the comments. Here is the answer I will give to your question. What happens, what happened, will happen. Because it is not our choice that bothers. It is our spirit of independence that bothers, that disturbs, which leads to CES attacks that you observe in Niger. In Mali and Burkina, mutual agreement. The president, if you allow it, because you were able to explain the reasons for these two attacks. At the level of the border between Niger and Mali, you have underlined that the Niger lack of happiness with the sea. The Republic is strategic. Then, the question that regularly recurs in public opinion. After all these attacks, is there a strategy to counter these attacks today? Because both attacks, people are asking questions about this military strategy, whether it's Niger, Burkina, or Mali, because these attacks are common and repeated. Is there a military strategy today in relation to this? But if there is no strategy, you will not be there asking me the question. If there is no strategy, the Nigerians who settle, this question would not be there to ask this question. They don't even have time to ask these questions, because they would be slaves subject to LA France. That's the truth, so ask this question. Is to show ingratitude in the face of the defense and security forces who are sacrificing themselves every day. I just said it apparently. You don't listen to me. It is not to those who carry the weapons that we have to make. It is in front of the West that we fight and that we are standing. It is facing the West, which accumulates all the wealth, who make all these weapons, which develops all these colonization strategies, of the neo-colonization that we fight, so that the Africans, or more particularly of the Nigerians, ask questions. It's because there is this strategy, which allows them to breathe and ask the questions. But the attacks LA France, of March 2013, on November 24, 2024, recorded more than 100 terrorist attacks. If there is a champion, a capital in terrorist attack, it is, well, Paris have the memory. La France, especially Paris. A month-long grandpa has experienced more than 15 terrorist attacks. I said 1 year. Paris has experienced more than 15 terrorist attacks. Remember to have a memory. The Republican March, where some heads of state made the displacement to support Paris. France, Greater France. That's where we came from. It is from this spirit that we came out. It happened in Paris. It did not happen in Yamile. November 13, 2015.
That whatever that is in Niamey Airport is what the survivor of France depends on. So France is doing everything possible in its power to make sure these things that are there, and we know it's the uranium that they decided to seize from them, and they took them to international court, claiming that Niger has stolen their own uranium. And when everything did not happen the way they planned, they then decided that nobody should buy this uranium from Niger. And this uranium, France used to buy it 0.80 euros and then sell it at the world market for 200 euros per kilo. That was before we had leaders who then came and decided that whatever that is in our soil should benefit us. And like he said, while they were planning, we have the same Africans who are preaching freedom, who are preaching Pan-Africanism, who are preaching that the African must move forward, with the same people who are helping them to make sure that the African remains poor. We have always been our hindrance. Africa is not moving forward, not because of anything, but because they succeeded in making sure the Africans do not want to move forward. They train us, they program us, and we continue to live under that program. No matter how much you try to take the African out, the African will still tell you, I just want to be here. I love my oppressors. Like Captain Ibrahim Traore said, why do we love these people more than our own selves? Why? The African can go to any length to please people, yet we can never go an inch to please ourselves. When these attacks happened, we saw the narrative they push across, and you'll find Africans who are fighting for their liberation, singing the songs of the oppressor. Sometimes when we are even talking about it, we make it look like it is the problem of the Nigerians. Now that they kick them out, see the way they are suffering. But have you asked yourselves, these people were here for all these years. What have they done for us? How has the continent been? This is what Ama Ata Edu said. That ever since we came in contact with them 500 years ago, look at us. They keep taking and they keep taking. But you, the African who is preaching freedom, who is asking yourselves, why are we poor? Why do we have all these natural resources, yet we are not moving forward? Will still be the same person that will be singing their songs, thinking that without them you can never survive, because you are told you have nothing. So therefore, before you can move forward, you need them to come and help you. And like the Algerian president asked us, is this TT activity an African initiative? No. And according to him, the Algerian president, the same people who are sitting down telling the whole world how they want to come and fight these TT people to set us free are the same ones that are sponsoring them. They are the same ones that are causing the mess. But as much as we preach to the African to wake up, the African still comes out to tell us no. And sometimes you see the same Africans who are fighting for freedom telling you that, yes, the leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have spoken. They are accusing people. Yet, there's no credible or standard international. So you, the African, sitting here, still believes that your oppressor has a final say when it comes to your issues. Are we sure we want to be free? We want to be liberated? For how long must we continue to live in this kind of cage that they have kept us? Aren't we tired that we need to come out? How can people who depend on you be the ones that can set you free? It's because you don't know who you are, what you have, the power in you. Like one man said, Africans succeeded in throwing away their spirituality, their identity, their culture, their everything. So today we are so powerless. We are so powerless. And that is why people can easily manipulate the African to do what they want. If you don't know who you are, you can never fight for what is right for yours. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's colonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, West Africa, and in Niger.